So, just for the benefit of the viewers, Andrew, I'm not sure you can answer this question, but you might be able to. I mean, a lot of viewers will have taken the vaccine, perhaps, a year ago or whatever. Is there a bell curve to the that you've found to the adverse reactions? I mean, if for example a viewer took the vaccine a year ago, is it are they now in the clear if they haven't had an adverse reaction?
There's evidence out there that even 2 years after vaccination, that the excess deaths are still occurring. I'll share with your viewers that I took 2 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine. I didn't have any problem at all with the first one. Um, the second dose really hurt me, and I've had a lot of side effects since. Um, but that's sort of 2 years ago, and the side effects I've had this year are considerably less than they were last year. So I'm hoping that as time goes on, um, the risks to those of us who took the vaccines are reducing.
And which brands have you found are worse? Are the worst? Is it Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca? Which ones have the worst record?
Well, AstraZeneca was supposedly that bad that, I mean, it was withdrawn in Europe and then in the UK. So obviously there were concerns around. Yep, not in Australia, and also, I mean, the Covishield is actually the AstraZeneca vaccine that was produced in India, and that was rolled out, and is still being rolled out, as I understand. So there are concerns about that. The figures I've seen for severe adverse events are that it's an average of one in 800. That the Pfizer would be around 1 in 990. Um, but Moderna were 1 in 162. So on that scale, that the Moderna is probably maybe worse than the Pfizer, although I'm well aware, and I've presented evidence to the government, which they've again rejected, but it's unequivocal, that the Pfizer vaccine that was rolled out around the world was not the same vaccine that was given emergency authorization by all the regulators. And the answer to that is very straightforward. The smoking gun is the anaphylactic shock risk. Um, the vaccine that was approved by Pfizer, the mRNA was created by using PCR technology to replicate the messenger ribonucleic acids very, very carefully. And that was used in a trial to demonstrate supposed efficacy and safety. Again, there's some doubts now. I mean, I'm hearing reports that 80% of the deaths in the vaccine group of the Pfizer trial were kept out of the data that was given to the regulators. That's an allegation. But what is clear is that 4 times as many people died of cardiac problems in the vaccine group of Pfizer than died in the control group who had the placebo. And then after 8 weeks of study, Pfizer destroyed the scientific basis of the study itself by then vaccinating the control group. So that can never be replicated. That is a travesty of science and the truth, that they destroyed all means of ever holding the long-term effects of that vaccine to account, because they vaccinated the people who were in the placebo group after 8 weeks. So no one can say that the vaccine, the Pfizer vaccine, is safe and effective after 8 weeks, because it's never been trialed for more than 8 weeks. And we also know that when the vaccine was rolled out in the UK, mass vaccination, after 24 hours, the regulator changed the protocol and said everyone's got to stay at the vaccine centre for 15 minutes. They weren't, and that's because of the risk of anaphylactic shock, a reaction to the vaccine. They weren't expecting that, because they hadn't seen that in the trial data, that they'd approved the vaccine, but it was happening on the ground on day one. And you only get anaphylactic shock when you've got endotoxins in the vaccines, and you only get endotoxins in the vaccines when they've been cultured up in bacteria to produce. So that's the bacterial cell wall and the plasmids creating impurities in the vaccine and having a reaction to the patient. Well, I mean, that shows you that the Pfizer vaccine that was rolled out in the UK and around the world was actually cultured up in bacteria. That's not the way they manufactured the vaccine that was approved. It's rather like, they're showing you a product and saying this is what you're going to get, and it's a handmade product, it's perfect, and then you get a mass-produced one out the back, which is nothing at all like the thing you thought you were buying. So we have accused Pfizer of effectively carrying out a bait and switch operation where they show you something you might quite like to buy, but when you pay your money over, you get something inferior and different.